Are you guys ready for a great day? There is an incredible lineup on this stage, but we're going to start with one of my favorite shows. Who wants to talk about Firefly? Please welcome to the stage, Sean Mayer. Come on out, Sean.
24 karat magic in the air.
There he is.
Head to toe so clear. Look out.
And
It's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again?
give it up for Summer-Glau.
Designer mix. Inglewood's finest shoes. Don't look too hard, might hurt yourself. Known to give the color red the blues. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up the rocket. Keep up.
Welcome, you guys.
Well, thanks, Claire.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I almost fell over the table.
You can,
Lounge, like-
you
That
guys
would've
can
been-
share a couch, or Summer, you can have your own. It's all up to you. Welcome to Seattle. I like it already. This is a good way to start the Friday. Sean, I'm gonna get deep in your head here. This is gonna be like Inception for Firefly. Are you guys excited for this panel? Looking out at this crowd, Summer and Sean, did you guys ever imagine, how 15, 16 years later, we would still be here talking about the best siblings in the verse?
Oh, come sit next to me.
Since we started the Flying Tams, after Serenity ended, we took it on tour.
Yeah.
Started our own circus act. We do trapeze, even though I don't like going upside down.
Yeah.
I'll still do it.
Did nobody see the flying Tams?
Thanks a lot, guys.
You guys are infamous. But really, okay, so let's go way, way back to the beginning. Summer, you had a background as a dancer and, had done an episode of Angel, and here comes this role, River. And what were your initial thoughts, and what was the process of even getting cast like?
I don't know if we've talked about this on a panel together, but I just had the 2 pages. There was no script, and it was the first time I ever read for a series regular role. I mean, I snuck into my first audition for Joss. I wasn't supposed to go, and it was a callback. I snuck in, and I didn't know what Joss looked like, so I didn't know I was reading for Joss. And he said, "Where have you been?" And he looked down at my resume, which was made up. And he said, "Oh, Paint Your Wagon, Majestic Theater, San Antonio, Texas." Wow, yeah, cool. I didn't see that one. and then after that, he ended up thinking that I might read for River, and I just had the 2 pages, and that's all we needed. I don't know. Somehow the way that Joss writes, it doesn't take much to transport you and move you, and the whole process was just surreal. I think I was the very last one to be cast, though. I think they were really holding out. It took weeks for them to give in.
Really?
And let me have the part. Yeah.
They were like, "Paint your wagon." Is that the proper But, okay, I want to know a little bit more about this. When you snuck in, what do you mean you snuck into the audition?
I don't know. I mean, I was home when they had the original auditions for that role, and it was the dance audition because I was playing a ballerina, and my manager kept telling me, "Don't tell anybody you're a dancer. We want them to believe that you're an actress." So that's when I changed my resume to. It was all dancing stuff, but she called me. I was home in Texas, and she said, "There's this Joss Whedon show, and they're looking for a ballerina." And I went to the callback, and I was like dressed as a dancer, which I didn't know you didn't do yet. So so embarrassing. And I somehow just wrote my name down on the thing. I went in, I read for Joss, and he asked me if I could do any accents. I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so I went outside, and I was pacing around, and I was like, "I guess I'll just do a British accent." He had me do it with the British accent. And he told me after I left, he told the casting director, "Well, hopefully she doesn't have cement feet because I'm in a caster without seeing me dance. Didn't even know I was actually a dancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a better dancer than I was an actress. I mean, I've actually gone to class.
Well, it worked out. And Sean, what was it like for you when you initially were cast in Firefly?
I think it's kind of the same.
You snuck into your audition as well?
I snuck in.
You were a
but no.
dancer?
I wish I saw Painted Wagon or Paint the Wagon.
It was Paint Your Wagon.
Paint Your Wagon. I would have loved to have seen that.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
Classic Summer.
Mine was very similar in that there was no script, right? So I think we all just sort of I got 2 pages, just like you. I got the monologue where he explains to the crew what happened with River, the one that starts with "I'm very smart." And that's how I got it. And the rest is history. No, I was like, so that's all we had, which was, it's hard as an actor to sort of, go on this minimal stuff, this limited material, but it was so intriguing. Just this little tidbit was like, whoa. And I had never met Joss, and I, walked into the room and introduced myself, and my first question was like, gosh, can you tell me about this? I'd love to know what this is about, And so I got to hear the story of Firefly from his mouth, which was like,
Wow.
mind-blowing. So for me, it was all him. Like, I was so blown away by just his presence and his, his genius and his just way of being such a remarkable storyteller. And I left that audition, and it's pilot season, so like all your reps are trying to get you into like as many rooms as possible. And I had called my agent and I said, gosh, I know there's no script, and I know this is just some sort of long shot, but this meeting went so well, and I really love this man, and I want to work with him. And then I wasn't testing for 2 weeks, and in that 2 weeks, you can go audition for something, and I just secretly hoped I wouldn't get anything else. And I actually had another show at Fox, so I did 2 tests on the same day, which was really stressful, to say the least. And they said, why don't you test for this other show first? We're not going to tell you whether or not you got it, because if you don't get it, we don't want it to. No, we're going to test for Firefly first, and if you don't get it, we're not going to tell you, so it won't affect your second test. And so I went in and I tested, and this testing process it's one of the worst experiences ever, because you just walk into a room with like 15, studio heads, and none of them smile or do anything. It's just like, I don't know how we get cast off that, because it's like your worst performance ever. But I did it, and then I went out and I was in the hall and I was just waiting, and they said, "Oh, Sean, can you come back in?" And I was like, "Fuck," And I went back in, and Joss was like, "Okay, so we're gonna need you to do that again on set." And I was like, "Oh my God, yeah." And everybody in the room was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Shh, the other actors are outside. That's horrible to do to them. Like, horrible." And
That's one of those magic moments that like never happens.
It never happens, and it was lovely. So it was fun. Yeah, and then the script came along, and it was like, oh my Lord. And then the other cast members came together and was like, oh my Lordy Lord. It was really just sort of this, it was a really remarkable process.
It was one of those little gems of a project. And how did you guys cultivate your relationship?
We didn't. I just
followed you around.
It just happened.
That was it.
It just happened. Summer was on set being like, I'm a bad actress. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're like, so I just sort of felt like as an actor, it was your first, and you were nervous, and I think you were feeling like you were doubting your ability to be there, but it was, so I feel like as an actor, I was trying to nurture her, which sort of translated to our relationship on screen, and that was just effortless and easy for me. Yeah.
Aww. Well, it showed. And Summer, was the physicality of the role helpful coming from the dance background? Did that help you sort of connect?
Definitely. I think actually, I was talking to a few people about it in line that my movements were kind of extreme, and I just didn't really know how to express myself as an actor. So I started with the physicality, and it really worked out. Joss liked the idea of River being barefoot, and I really, it sounds silly, but it felt more grounded that way. And River wasn't didn't have an easy time connecting in the first place. So I just kind of went with that and really felt safe expressing her physically. So it worked out, and I love that she also got to dance. She also got to dance, and what when was it?
Safe?
Yeah,
was
it's
it?
safe.
Yeah.
Safe. Yeah, safe is what it's called.
Yeah. Uh-oh, secrets up here.
It's funny, I blanked. One of my favorite scenes of the entire series was Objects in Space, when River is in the cargo bay and you have this, when you pick up the stick, right? And it's just like the way you're walking is so graceful and delicate and just really beautiful.
Thank you. That was one of my very favorite scenes.
I love that.
Because it was like a dream inside
So
a dream.
good, right?
Yeah. Do you work as an actress inside out, or do the layers and the clothing and the wardrobe and the hair, does that help you connect?
I think it depends on the role.
Yeah.
That's such a great question. How about you? That's cheating.
Sean?
That's a fantastic question. I don't know.
Food for thought.
I mean, I think it's everything. I think I forget, what happens when you step into your wardrobe. You're like, oh yeah, now there's this, or like, or working with actors that seems so, effortless and easy, and there's that, and then there's research that you do, and then there's, like for me, I spent a lot of time with like, medical jargon and having a suture and doing all that stuff. So there's that where I'm spending time just, trying to sew leather basically so that I can suture, say lines, do it fast, and look like a badass,
Well, it worked.
Oh. I don't know if he was a badass, but.
We're going to open it up for Q&A so you guys can line up in the aisles. I know people probably have a lot of questions. So we all know what happened with the show, but tell us what it was like when you got the call that the movie was going to happen. And what were your thoughts? And Summer, what was the training process like for you there with Serenity?
Well,
we were at Joss's house.
Yeah, we were eating with them.
We were with Joss and Kai, and he
I
cooked me
couldn't
sea bass
believe
because
it.
I wouldn't eat meat.
You did go through some different phases.
Yeah. But yeah, we were having dinner at Joss's house, and he said he was off to Cape Cod to write the script, and I had not heard anything about it. So, but I think you were privy to it before me.
I remember, I was over there when he said that he was going to have, that he wanted to make River like a human weapon. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay.
That's right in my wheelhouse.
Yes, sir. And then they started me out in training months and months before we started shooting, and that's a long story, but I'm grateful for the experience, and now that it's over, no, I'm kidding. It was really hard work, but Joss really wanted me to do the fights myself.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to use a lot of camera angles and tricks, and of course I had a wonderful stunt person as well who I trained with every day, and she was invaluable to me. But I'm really grateful that Joss wanted to shoot the fight scenes from start to finish, almost like dance choreography, because it looked so different. Mm-hmm. And now that I've done a lot of other, I've been on a lot of other sets and done other stunts, I realize how rare that is, that they, let the actor take the time to train and from start to finish. And it was a really important life lesson for me as well, to be patient and put in the time and just day after day, going through the movements, and then turning around and saying, oh wow, I really actually was able to do that.
I think it probably made a huge difference. I mean, it was so powerful seeing you do all that as opposed to like the back of a stunt person. So
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene
So
in the movie.
grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, we'll start over here.
Okay. Hi, my name is Eliana Puckett. I'm from Sandpoint, Idaho, and I have a question for both of you. My first one is for Summer. How was it playing a mentally unstable person as your first acting role? And my second one is for Sean, obviously. And I really love you and Malcolm Reynolds' chemistry on screen and how you're always kind of in each other's faces. What was your favorite scene with Nathan?
Okay, Sean, you want to start with that? Favorite scene with Nathan?
Don't think too long.
When I punched him? Yeah, there's a funny story that day because we were doing that scene and then I say, well, sleep easy because, River and I are like, and for some reason, my first take, I can't even recreate it, but I said something like, well, sleep easy, or like my mouth went cockeyed and it came out like, sleep, and everybody was making fun of me. Everybody could do it amazingly, especially Jewel. She's
still
like,
does it.
well, sleep easy, and I was like, and so she kept saying, so I couldn't get through that line without laughing because everybody's around there going, sleep, it's like, so that was a really fun, that was one of my, I don't know. I also love in the pilot when we had that moment and he's like, Haley's dead, and that was like one of my first scenes, and then, running down and seeing, that she's not, I just thought that was just one of the most genius pranks that Mal could have done to Simon. I think that sort of, and Lord Fauntleroy when he called, there's a lot.
There is a lot. That's
There
such a
is a
good...
lot.
Yeah. And Summer, what about playing an unstable character for your first role ever?
You were crazy.
This might be a little bit of a letdown, but it actually came pretty naturally to me. People, I think, assume that I really had to study hard. And as I said previously, even just looking at those 2 pages, it just felt so right. And
Which pages were they? Can I ask?
they were not in the script.
Oh.
They were just audition pages.
Huh.
I recently found them again. I keep my audition.
Wouldn't that have been funny
pages.
if they were like, hey, get naked and get in this box. Let's see how you can do that.
That is not how I got the part.
Oh, Lord.
No.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name's Chris. I'm from Puyallup. So I've read that you guys were filming a scene when Joss broke the news to you that Fox made the terrible, terrible decision. How did you guys handle that? How did you guys react?
I wasn't at work that day.
I wasn't there either.
Sorry.
My mom was visiting, and I was sort of wrapped up in like mom stuff, like just
I'm glad your mom was there, so you had a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't work out that well. And I saw my phone was like everybody. I had missed calls from everybody, so I knew it was happening. And then we all gathered at Nathan's house and ate lots of bean dip and drank too much.
He makes the best 7-layer bean dip.
He does. I may have fallen through the hedges that night. And then Morena's boyfriend drove me home,
Oh.
where I was wasted with my mom.
Awkward.
So fun. Burping bean dip.
Yeah. Thank you.
It was sad. We were, it was so sad. It was my 4th canceled show with Fox at that point. But I'm bummed. Ow. Yeah. was sad. It was it
Yeah.
burned. It hurt a lot
We
more
were very
than,
close. We really
Yeah.
felt like family, and it just felt so magical. Although, we went through so many hurdles. It felt from the very beginning.
Yeah.
We kept just getting knocked down and getting back up, and I think it made us close.
Yeah.
Closer and closer and closer.
And the series. I mean, the series was really like the seed of who we all became as friends after the show was canceled. I mean,
True.
we became more like family. We've all had children, and we've seen each other through chapters of our lives, and so the show itself was kind of the foundation for, some of the most favorite people in my life.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Michaela from Reno, Nevada, and I was wondering if you had what was your favorite set to film in or location to film in, either in Serenity or on a planet?
That's a good question. Favorite location
question.
from the show or the movie, I guess.
I like our dining table
Yeah, that was fun.
because we all had
Dining
really good
table and
laughs.
cargo bay. It was like usually everybody was there, and those were really fun days. I was just happy to get off the ship for Janestown. That was,
Well, good
that was
for you.
fun. Yeah, you stayed behind. Because Simon never got to get off the ship, and that was fun. But yeah, I think the dining room, that table.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good times.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Bronwyn, and I own a coffee house in Seattle that's pretty much dedicated to Firefly and Serenity, called Wayward Coffee House.
Wait, what is it called?
Wayward
Wayward, like
Coffee House.
Wayward?
Right.
Okay.
You should come by.
Yeah. How how late is it open?
11 p.m.
Ooh.
Nice.
All
I haven't
right.
seen 11
Nathan
p.m. in a long
stopped
time.
by.
I know.
Nathan stopped by when you guys were in town for Much Ado About Nothing, so
Oh.
we'd love for you to join that photo array.
Okay.
But I do also have a question.
It's not just advertisement for your
no.
coffee shop.
No.
Good.
So we heard an announcement recently that there's going to be novelizations finally after all this time. And along with the graphic novels that have been done, so we've actually gotten to see more stories and see the continuation of the characters. What would you like to see, your characters? What stories are left untold from the series and the film that you want to see played out in the novels or in more graphic novels?
It's a great question. Have you guys even thought about that?
I always just wanted babies with Kaylee. Yeah, and Auntie River, who we
He already
would
told me.
never leave them alone with.
She'd be such a good aunt.
Yeah, you'd be a great playmate. We just have to keep
It's not
keep
to
an
be
eye on you.
monitored. I don't know. I think River should brush her hair. Finally.
Put on some shoes.
And maybe get some shoes.
Possibly.
And there's so many things I'd like to I'd like to read about. I mean, particularly with Shepard's story, because he had such an amazing backstory, and yeah.
Yeah.
Joss was always so secretive, though. It was very hard to get any details out of him, even though we knew that they were there. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth, and I'm from Austin, Texas. My question is for Summer. This goes back to, I know you danced for the San Antonio Ballet, and when you were in class, this is probably something I think I might be the only person who cares about, but like, what part of your classwork did you really enjoy, like the adagios or pirouettes or petit allegro, grand allegro? Like, what did you really connect with, and how did that translate into your acting and into those fight scenes, into the physicality of the work?
Wow. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that question. I definitely am. I was an adagio lover because of the music. But I like all parts of. What about you, Sean?
Me too. Always.
Wow, that's such a wonderful question. But I love it all. I really like footwork. I love to jump. I it's not the greatest turner, except in my dreams. I would have turning dreams. You know, where you get that like 6 or 7 pirouette dream.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fun. But yeah, I like it all except frappes. I never really loved frappes.
My students hate frappes.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. My name is Anne. I just moved to Seattle from Michigan. Really happy to be here.
Where in Michigan?
Ann Arbor. I was at University of
Oh.
Michigan.
I'm in Birmingham.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. So I love the episode Ariel. Just such a beautiful episode. And Simon's line, she feels everything she can't not, was always such a haunting line to me, that what that implies about how a river sees the world. And I just wondered what that meant for your performance, Summer, and for yours as you were helping her kind of deal with that.
Wow, these are really good questions.
Yeah, that is a
I've
really
never been asked
profound
that
line,
question.
too.
You guys are so smart.
It's Seattle.
Yeah,
She feels everything.
She feels
She
everything.
can't-
She can't not. I mean, this is the amygdala scene. Yeah, which is, I mean, so Ariel, Ariel was one of my favorite episodes. I think tonally when it came out, it was like you said, it was beautiful, and I think that scene especially. So how did it? I don't know. How did it translate?
I remember shooting
mean,
it now that we're talking about
Yeah.
it.
So to be perfectly honest, that was one of the toughest days for me because of the hologram. So I was having a hard time even with the dialogue, because if I didn't have my fingers just right, we would have to cut it, and so that it was a tricky scene to shoot. It was one of my favorite ever, especially when we saw it. And I was like, oh, but I was getting really frustrated that day because I was like, I'm the actor, you know. Why is this all about the special effects? Like, special effects are getting paid more than me. They're more expensive.
Weren't we
but-
in a crazy location too?
Yeah.
Like an abandoned mental hospital
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah, we sure were.
It was crazy and creepy.
It was so fun.
The director was pushing us. He was like, you got dig deeper, dig deeper. It was intense.
Yeah.
But you always pushed me because he was actually a really, really good actor. I don't know if any of y'all know that, but he's really good. And yeah, you just can transport me, kind of like the dialogue, Joss's dialogue, and then working with you, it always just pushed me. And I remember that day. Sometimes I would have to actually pull myself back, like, you know, when we shot your scene where you got shot. I've told this story before, but I was so hit by overwhelming emotions that it got out of control, and I was crying so hard that Joss came up to me. And he always tried to be very careful with me because I was so new. And he said, "That's great. You're doing great. It's great. Just could you cry a little quieter because you're ruining Sean's close-up." So embarrassing. But that is how moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
And that line perfectly sort of describes the character, too.
Yeah, and I
feel
think,
like.
I mean, that whole scene when he's figuring out what happened, I do remember, like, having a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach, like, so nauseous that this, you know, had been done. You know, I think even as a person, like, anything involving brains or, you know, all that stuff, as a person makes me, just gives me chills. So I think realizing that, you know, all that about the amygdala was really quite unsettling to me. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm a nervous wreck today. I'm sorry.
Well, you look
Aw.
great. We love your
Just keep
flowers.
Keep it
Thank
real.
you.
You're so cute,
made it.
and I'm too far away to bite.
It's okay.
But if I see you later, I'll bite you.
One of my
So
favorite
inappropriate.
scenes. Well, everybody tells me I'm River. Like, oh, you're so like River, and I'm like, thank you. She was one of my favorite characters. But then she kicks butt.
Absolutely.
But my question is, out of the episode where River's in the hospital and they get captured, what was the most intense scene or like your favorite scene out of that whole episode?
Is that Ariel?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
was.
You know, like Sean was saying, that was kind of that whole episode I had a knot in my stomach. I don't know if I can pick a favorite scene.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was sitting next to Adam, handcuffed. That was pretty fun. I kind of, to feel like a criminal.
Finally felt like you just committed a crime. It's like, how can I get out of these things? Darn it.
They were too big. I could slip out of them, but I was a really good actor, so I just pretended like I was stuck.
Hollywood magic, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sweetie. Thank you.
My dad's after.
But just to answer your question, there was a scene in the beginning of the episode where Tim and Joss called it the Ocean's 11 scene, where I'm sort of like pitching the heist, and that was so fun for me to do, and I got it the night before at like midnight, and they're like, oh, we're starting a new episode tomorrow. Hey, Sean, by the way, and I was like, oh my God. But I had a lot of fun. That whole episode was fun for us. Yeah. Anyway.
Hi, Sean, Summer. Oh my gosh, I'm like freaking out. My name is Mika Wilson. I'm here from Seattle, and hello, Ben. I'm super excited to have you guys here. We had a couple years ago, we had Nathan here, and he had shared a lot of behind-the-scenes kind of funny stories, and some sillies that you guys had been doing. And so I just wanted to know what was your favorite kind of fun behind-the-scenes sort of anything you guys did.
Fun behind the scenes moments.
Wasn't that fun?
Wasn't that fun?
Do you have one? I love my favorite story, or my favorite, and I think it's on the DVD outtakes, is during the message when Nathan goes under the camera. So the camera's doing a 360, and we're all like in a circle, just very solemn, just like listening to and then Nathan ducks under the camera and pops up next to each actor. And it was so funny because he did it during rehearsal, and then we shot the scene, and then Joss was like, all right, now we need to get, what Nathan was doing on camera, which like spoke volumes to like the set. It was, we all got our work done, and then, did the practical jokes. That was funny. I'm just so mad at myself because I wasn't able to not laugh. Like, it would have been so funny if I was standing there like Nathan, but he comes up next to me, and I couldn't contain it.
But that's kind of Nathan. He just makes you laugh when you're around him.
Yeah.
That was one of the greatest. That was one of the greatest pranks. And did he tell you the monkey story about the little set monkey that he kidnapped and held hostage?
He brought it up, but I don't think he shared that.
Would you like to hear about the monkey?
He didn't tell you. Do you remember that story?
So would I.
Our prop master, he had that little stuffed monkey that would make noises during. He would keep it on the soundstage, which is you're supposed to be super quiet when you're on set. So this little monkey would go off sometimes and ruin takes. So Nathan kidnapped him and sent him on a world tour, and would keep sending letters, like ransom notes, to the prop master.
How do I not know this?
But then the monkey got maimed. He chopped the monkey's arm off.
That's horrible.
And mailed it. He didn't tell y'all that story?
No.
Well, I guess he didn't because it was pretty dark. You don't remember this?
Maybe I was drunk. I don't remember.
Yeah.
You were with your mom at this point.
I was probably drinking with my mom.
Yeah, Nathan's parents took him to the Grand Canyon, and there were some other things. Yeah, it was dark, but it was funny.
And there you have it, the monkey story. Thank you. Hey, how's it going?
Good. My name's Lance. I'm from Hoku in Washington. And my question is, how did you guys feel when you learned you were going to be on this sci-fi, Wild West, Mandarin-speaking show?
I don't think I knew until I got there. I mean, it was pitched to me by my agent. It's like,
Surprise.
oh, this new, because we were going over all the pilots of that year, and then it was, oh yeah, and this is like, the guy from Buffy's doing a sci-fi show. That's what I got. And then I think post-apocalyptic Western is what it sort of became when I would explain to people what it was. But I mean, I loved it. So I mean, not to bitch too much about Fox, but
Please
but those were one of
Please
their
do.
those were a few of their notes. They were like, why are there horses in outer space? And Joss was like, because that's the world. And there were, we were, rifles and duct tape, and there was no lasers or aliens. There were reavers, like it was, and I don't think the network got it. And it was so funny because Joss would come back to set after, being, with the Fox
In the
executives,
meetings,
and he'd be
yeah.
like, oh, they want like Melrose Space, so I guess more sex. I don't know. Like it was, it was such an interest to me. It was like, it was such a unique world. I'd never seen anything like it, and I think that's what was just so magnetic about it. Yeah, and the Mandarin. It was the whole thing, right?
Well, both of you guys tore it up, and thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi.
My name's Isaac. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I really connected with River because, like, I've struggled a lot with mental health and stuff growing up. And I know that a lot of people connect and adore a lot of different things about characters. I was wondering, what's one of the things that you both adore or connect with your character a lot?
I mean, as an actor, you usually start by maybe looking at similarities you have as a person to the
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
and then realizing what you can change to create the depth of the character. So were there any initial, I mean, I know it seems weird to even think that way with the River character, but maybe the physicality,
It was the perfect. It was just such a perfect role for me at that time of my life. I think it was like I was saying earlier, actually a very natural fit for me. Except for the genius part, I had to really use my imagination for that. But
not true.
I think I was so new to acting and so vulnerable because I just didn't know what I was doing, and the whole thing was sensory overload, and I felt so scared and excited and thrown into a world where I really didn't know how to express myself in the first place. So it really was just the perfect role for me at that time of my life. And very exciting and scary. And when I moved recently, I found my audition pages, those 2 pages, and with my little notes.
I left mine on the airplane
And
and never got them back. All crumpled up and
Oh my
penciled and this and that.
That's
I mean,
heartbreaking.
I knew it so well, so I didn't need them, but I was like, oh. Anyway, not to
you
interrupt you.
spend so much time with those pages.
You found yours?
I found mine, and I relived it, and I thought, wow, I don't know if I could do this again. I don't think I could go back to that feeling and those emotions because they were just so special in the moment. And I just feel so blessed that I found Joss in that role at that time.
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes when you're young and it is your first, role or something, you don't have the expectations and the fears of an actor, so you just kind of let it all go. Yeah. And that seems like the situation with the character. Yeah. Hi.
Hello. My name's Jessica. I'm from Yakima. And everybody's doing the deep questions, so I'll just ask what I asked Nathan, my birthday buddy, which is, what is a memorable gift you have received for your birthday for both of you guys?
Memorable birthday gift.
I have no memory now.
Or it could be a fan gift too,
or a fan
right?
gift,
Yeah, something. You guys probably get a lot of cool things at events like this, so it could be. We'll open it up to that too. I see an opportunity for you to give them something.
Well, yeah. Thank you for coming to visit us then.
Oh. Yes, this is kind of sad. I have a bone to pick with my husband.
I'm very grateful.
I mean, my traditional birthday would be wine tasting in Santa Barbara. So that was always, and there's a place called the Post Ranch Inn, which is like my favorite place in the world. So those are always my favorite. So my husband's not that bad. He's a pretty great guy.
Come try to Lower Valley in around the Yakima Valley. Excellent wineries and wine tasting.
Okay.
Ooh, good advice.
I mean, I don't drink or anything.
Only with your mom.
Yes.
Only with my mom.
Yeah. Summer, do you have any gifts that stick out? Either fan gifts or moments or...
I like to rack up the honeydews around my house. That's like my gift.
Ooh.
I just write those down and he takes care of them. Yeah. Honeydew this, honeydew that, you know. And as far as fan gifts, I like cross stitch.
I thought you meant the fruit.
I did too.
I was like, wait a second. You give out honeydews and that's your gift? That doesn't seem fair. And I was like,
prefer
that's Liam's
cantaloupes,
favorite
but okay.
fruit. That's my son's favorite fruit. That's so funny. You grow honeydews. Amazing. Anyway.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Tyler from Curry, New South Wales.
Oh, wow.
Little trip, little flight.
Yeah, but you don't have an accent.
I'm an expat.
Oh.
So over the years, all of the tours and meet and greets and cons that you've been to, and specifically all of the fan interactions. This is going back deep again, by the way. Which one, I'm sure both of you have had an interaction with a fan that really made you, realize what the show meant to all of us. I'm just wondering if you could, like to share one of those interactions where you realize, wow, this was really big for 10 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many. The question before about what we connected to about I step into it, I don't know if you guys, without knowing really what I'm doing. I'm not like, oh, I'm going to portray empathetic older brother who sacrifices everything for his sister. I think coming to these events, which is such a gift in so many ways, because we get to talk about something that we all love so much, but to get feedback about, oh, when Simon did that, and I'm like, oh yeah, he did do that. Like, that's pretty awesome, so I love just getting, as the years go on, like people are telling us about the show and what they saw and what resonated so strongly with them that truly, as I was doing it, as we were doing it, I'm not conscious of it. So I love that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the greatest gifts that we have with this series is that we get to come and celebrate what only lasted for such a short moment for all these years. And
That's our favorite gift. Right?
That is our favorite gift. So thank you guys, because this doesn't happen to many actors. It's such a privilege and an honor, and I love that new people are coming up and saying, I started showing the show to my kids and now they love it, and or I just discovered the show for the first time, and it just keeps being reborn. And it seems to be one of those comfort shows for people where they'll turn it on and say, I just needed to watch it. I was having a hard time, or I was in the hospital and I just needed this show. And I've had those, I have those comforts myself, and it is such an honor to be a part of that some of you.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Liz. I'm from Tacoma. And my question is a two-parter. First, I was wondering, with the TV show coming out and there being that gap of time and then the movie coming out, was it difficult transitioning from TV set to movie set? And also with all of the big story revelations that came out during the movie, kind of wrapping up a lot of what was left unsaid in the show, what was your reaction to those big revelations? Did you know it all beforehand, or was it like a big shocker to you?
Okay, lapse of time between, first part of the question.
Yeah,
Was
and-
that
and was it
significant in
easy?
refinding the characters?
I didn't think so.
It
I mean, that
was-
table read, I kept losing my place in the script because I was just like, oh my God, there she is again. There's River. Oh, there's Kaylee. Like, holy moly. And it was just sort of like hearing these characters again was just like, bloop, right back into it. And the set, too, I mean, the set was pretty much the same, except it was all one ship. Whereas on the Fox lot, when we shot the series, like when you exited the cargo bay and went, the set continued at either a different soundstage or on the other side. So the ship itself was like, just one structure, which was pretty amazing. But we did have on the Fox lot. Do you remember the southwest side was where we exited to go to our trailers and pee?
Yes.
And then on the Universal lot, it was the northeast side of the soundstage. And the soundstage is about this size here, higher ceilings, but you would hear like someone, you'd say, oh, I'm going 10-1, that means you're going to the bathroom. And then you'd hear, here, fuck! And then, all because we would all forget and go that way to go to the bathroom. And when you have to pee, it's like kind of annoying.
Big long walk to nowhere.
So it's like, oh man, I got to go all the way that way, and I'm gonna wet my pants. That was the only difference for me.
And there you have it. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm from Santa Cruz in sunny California.
Oh, yay.
And my question, so I know, Sean, you were in for an episode of the silliness that was Con Man. And I know in that show, all the various characters who played the cast members have very mixed feelings about the idea of bringing the show back. And I've heard various things from the fan community as well. Some people say, oh, it needs to happen, we need to have a reunion. And other people say, no, it was beautiful, let it just be what it is. So I wonder what your feelings are about that issue.
Something's really funny, but we don't know what it is.
What's everybody laughing at? What?
Oh, the guy behind her. Hey. Guy behind her, it's not your turn. It's her moment to shine. Okay, so you're talking about the real actors talking about a revival of Firefly, not Con Man and the show within the show. Okay.
Yes.
So what would you guys think about,
That's such a toughie. I mean, I see both sides.
Mhm.
I think I lean towards it was so perfect, don't touch it. But if it were
But if
to
you guys
come,
are hanging out, I gotta be there too, sort of a thing.
right? So if it were to come to fruition, I would absolutely
We'd have
do
to
it
be
in a heartbeat. But I don't know if it's just not to be touched.
What do you think?
What do you think?
maybe we should
Yeah.
ask the guy behind you.
Yeah, I think I feel similarly that I wouldn't be bothering anybody to make it happen, but if it did, I would obviously watch it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I'm from Poulsbo, Washington, which is right across the water from here. And I would like to say that, first of all, I think another movie would be great. Another explanation movie would be awesome. And my question is for Summer. And I was just wondering, when Josh did figure out that you could dance, how did he find that out? And how did you two work together to make that a part of the show more? And I also have a question for both of you. Would you be in any other shows that Josh is doing or planning to do in the future?
Well, we can start with that. That's probably an easy answer.
You've done Dollhouse and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did Dollhouse. Remember the arm thing? Yeah, that was really, really fun. And then you did Much Ado. Yeah. He's, once you're part of the Whedon family, it's forever, right?
Absolutely.
It's forever.
Yeah. I mean, would we? I would do. When Joss reached out for Much Ado, it was like, yeah, of course. I don't know what the hell you're doing, but yeah, I'll do it with you. It was so bizarre, but.
That was great. I love that.
Yeah, it was a great
really
film. It was the way it was thrown together was just all of us were like, what are we doing? Like, we just showed up and did like a Shakespeare play, and there was this remarkable movie, and that's sort of a reflection of Joss. I mean, every single person who showed up for that film was there because they wanted to support him, and the party scene. I'm just looking around. It's like his backyard is packed with like casting directors like Amy and Anya, and and some of his writers, and there were Cirque du Soleil people in the tree who they like befriended years ago. So it's only it was Joss and Kai who really I don't think it could have been done without him and this Whedonverse that we're all a part of. That's kind of this unspoken bond.
Thank you.
Very unique. Like all of you, you're part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then I just showed up and danced Giselle. You were asking me how did he find out that I could dance? He didn't. I got cast and I showed up for my first day and just started dancing hardcore. Really. I did my own. I didn't know that you didn't do your own hair and makeup, so I just did my own hair and makeup. I
love you.
I stood by the soundstage because I didn't know, when you're a dancer, you just have to listen for your music and you have to show up and just do it. Nobody comes to get you and knocks on your door and lets you know in 5 minutes. So I was like, ready, guys. And he shot a whole day of dance, and then I think he really enjoyed it because he added more dance.
Right.
He shot an extra day to get more of Giselle into the episode, and it was just so magical for me because I had never danced Giselle as a ballet dancer, and here I was getting to do it
on TV.
On TV, so it's pretty special.
Thank you.
Thank you very
and
much.
we have time for just one more question, so we're going to go over here.
I'm so grateful that I get to be the last one. My name's Mariah. I'm from Colorado. My favorite part about your guys' relationship on screen is the really intense loyalty that you have for each other, and I find that just a really profound emotion. And this kind of goes back to the connection question. But what connections in your real life did playing those characters invoke for you in the sense of really embodying that intense loyalty?
Or what did you draw from to create that loyalty?
Well, for me, myself, I don't have a brother. I have two little sisters. And I think I'd always imagined what it would be like to have a brother and to sort of have a hero. And not to get too deep, I always do this to Sean. He's like, can you not get so sappy?
I've never said that.
But it was like,
Sean's like, tell me more. Tell me more.
He was just so inspiring for me, and I had just never acted before. I had so much to learn, so I was so lucky to have such a strong actor to look up to and to kind of feel guided by. So it was easy for me, and it was so fun because I didn't have that kind of relationship in my real life.
That's a great last question.
Stop being
Thank
so
you.
sappy.
Thank you.
You don't get tired of her giving you compliments, do you?
Kind of. It makes me blush.
Thank you. But you know, the bond was just so apparent between you guys, and both of you amazing. The show's amazing. Did you guys enjoy this hour?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give one more big round of applause for Sean Mayer and Summer-Glau.
I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet.